How you all doing today?
Blessed.
Well, welcome to Breakfast on the Farm. Now, our Taste and See family here has been working really hard. They've been in the field, tilling the field. They've been gardening. And so that might be why our breakfast is a little late, I reckon. So just bear with us. And, speaking of breakfast, did you know that when you eat breakfast, you're actually eating to live? Because by skipping breakfast, you're 2.5 times more at risk for a blood clot or a stroke. Can you believe that? So let me get my pointer out. Over here, benefits of eating breakfast. Okay, it's going to decrease heart disease. What's the #1 disease in America here? Okay. You're going to have you'll be a more efficient problem solver. Wouldn't that be nice by eating breakfast? The benefits, you're going to increase your memory. And I like this one, it increases verbal fluency. And you have a better attitude towards life. And this is one good for kids. You do better scholastically when you eat breakfast. So also, did everybody get a pencil? Because we're going to be able to make notes in our recipes if we revise anything. And I just wanted to let you know, for those who haven't been here before, this is plant-based class. So on this here farm, we haven't injured any animals. They're our pets. Amen. And we love our pets. Also, being that we're plant-based, I wanted you to be aware that there are nuts in some of our recipes. So we'll be using walnuts, almonds, cashews. We have a lot of different grains. So I just wanted to make you aware of that in case anybody has any kind of allergies. I don't believe we'll be using any peanuts today. So I reckon we best get started. Okie dokie? Okay, so Robert, why don't you give opening prayer? I don't know, I just did the best to put on a drawing.
All right, let's remove our hats. And our hands, please. Loving Father, we thank you for these Taste and See days. And we just pray that you'll be with us and all our activity and all our demonstrations, and bless the food, bless each one of us here. We'll get something special out of this. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Ready?
Yeah.
Yeehaw!
We've got sound effects with this.
Can you hear me? Better? Can you hear me now? Closer?
Perfect.
Okay. That is very close. Well, I would ordinarily say good morning for breakfast. Now we're having afternoon, but it'll be tasty anyway. So Alicia said a little bit about, I have to try to keep this in the right spot. Okay. Alicia talked a little bit about the benefits of eating breakfast. And I want to just fill it in a little bit. I can see I'm going to have to just keep myself in one spot. Okay. Let me see if that's okay. All right. How many of you eat breakfast every day? Hey, look. Now, we are the exception in this room. Because in the regular world, maybe 1 out of 5 people eat breakfast every day. So almost all of you raised your hands. That's a good thing. That's probably why you're at this cooking demonstration, because you have an interest in being healthy. So about twice as many, 40 years ago, about twice as many people ate breakfast as do today. It's been steadily decreasing. And it's kind of interesting because if you look at when the obesity epidemic started, it started about 35 years ago. So just about the same time that people stopped eating breakfast as much as they used to, obesity started to increase. And also at that time, they started to come up with all different kinds of diet plans. You know, now we've got a million different diet plans, and it's an industry, a multi-billion-dollar industry of its own. And so that is one of the benefits of eating breakfast, is that it contributes to weight management. And I guess they're going to try to fix me here. Maybe if I hold it in place, that will also help, but I don't know, it just keeps going in and out. So you heard the days when the expression was eat breakfast like a king. And that actually bears itself out. Because if you eat your last meal like a king, you won't be very hungry for breakfast. Because your body will be digesting things through while you're eating and sleeping, and when you wake up, you won't have that real urge to eat. So that we have things kind of turned upside down. We eat our biggest meal, that's where most people eat their biggest meal in the evening, rather than in the morning. And when you eat it in the morning, of course, you have all day for it to provide fuel and for it to be utilized. So have you heard that breakfast just starts your metabolism? Have you heard that? That is a true statement. And I wanted to give you some information from a couple studies here. And these are kind of interesting. Alicia mentioned one of those things. She mentioned heart disease as being something that the risk is lower when you eat breakfast every day. And I don't know, maybe I should just try yelling. Would that be? Right where? Right here? Right here?
Susan, you don't know if I
I can try. Now, you think this is? Is it in the right spot, would you say? Okay, well, I apologize if it's gonna fade in and out. I apologize for that. Do you think that? If we took, I don't even know if that can come off. And it might. No,
It may not come off on that one.
Doesn't sound like that. Okay, so let's just carry on and I'll try to get through this. It's kind of interesting, the research on it. So this is research from over 14 observational studies, and this is what they found that breakfast lowers the risk for. It lowers the risk for heart disease. We've already talked about that. It lowers the risk for diabetes, and it helps to regulate your glucose more effectively. It controls blood sugar. It decreases risk for obesity. It decreases the risk for high blood pressure, for stroke, for abdominal obesity, for cardiovascular related deaths, and for elevated LDL cholesterol. So that's a pretty big benefit from breakfast. So that's working very well. And so the other thing that I wanted to talk about in terms of the benefits of breakfast, when people skip breakfast, they skip some nutrients that come usually with breakfast foods, the kind of things that we eat at breakfast. And so when people skip breakfast, they miss folate, calcium, iron, vitamin A, vitamin B1, B2, B3, and vitamin C. Folate is also a type of a B vitamin. So many people skip breakfast for two reasons. One is they don't have time. They are in a hurry. And the other reason is because they think that it will make them lose weight. So what they have found in terms of the skipping breakfast is that it is true, you can save a few calories by not eating breakfast. And in some of the studies, it hasn't been many, but in a couple of the studies, they also found out that the people that skipped breakfast weren't any hungrier for lunch or dinner. So that was, something that they couldn't say was a detriment from not eating breakfast. But the interesting thing is when people skipped eating breakfast, it didn't make them lose weight. It maybe helped them to just keep and maintain their weight. But the more interesting thing is that the people that ate breakfast had a lower BMI or a body mass index. So eating breakfast has a lot of benefits. And I wanted to read one more thing here. If I have that with me. It says, according to one 2018 observational study, those who frequently eat breakfast often pay more attention to their overall nutrient intake. They regularly participate in physical activity and adequately manage their stress. Conversely, those who skip breakfast tend to have unhealthier lifestyle habits, such as frequent smoking and drinking. They also tend to have diets higher in fat, cholesterol, and calories than habitual breakfast eaters. These findings suggest that lifestyle habits may contribute to the overall health status of breakfast eaters or not eating breakfast. So apparently people that eat breakfast are also more mindful about other of their health habits. Now, how many of you have heard of intermittent fasting? Okay. Have any of you tried it? Okay. Does it help? Have you found it to be beneficial? Not really?
I have, but I feel more better about not eating anything after 6 o'clock at night. I feel my stomach feels better as I go through the night into the morning.
Yes.
And in the morning, my stomach is
Yes.
ready to eat for.
That's, Barbara's just mentioning that when you stop eating at a certain time, she stops at 6. That rests her stomach and she feels better when she gets up in the morning. She doesn't feel like she's carrying so much food when she goes to bed at night. That certainly is something I have experienced too. The most common one of those intermittent fasting techniques is the 16-8, where you go 16 hours without eating and you eat your food in an 8-hour window. And so let's say you stop eating at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock at night, then 16 hours later is when you would start your eating. And for someone like me, just personally, I've been on intermittent fasting for probably 40 years, way before they ever started talking about it as intermittent fasting. I just have been eating 2 meals a day for much of my life. And I eat them in that window, sometime between 10 and 3 or 10 and 4. And that's how I've been going my whole life long. And so far, I'm still here. And I, I have good energy and I hate that feeling. And I think what you've just described. And when you've been on that plan for a long time, if you eat late at night and you go to bed with something in your stomach, it is just not a pleasant feeling. And you don't get up, kind of charged and ready to eat breakfast right then. You still feel like you've got to do something with that stuff that's been sitting on your stomach. And it's also kind of interesting because it contributes to that whole notion. We have a circadian rhythm. We have a natural rhythm where our body is designed to rest and our body is designed to be active, and our body maintains a better circadian rhythm when we are resting our GI tract during the evening hours. So that is a great benefit. And also, when you intermittent fast, it grows more healthy gut bacteria. You've all heard about this microbiome, right? That's now become very popular. People are talking about that everywhere. So it also increases good bacteria. And eating enough fiber, of course, just generally speaking, and we'll be talking about fiber foods, keeps your bowels more regular. And that's also something that is important for people because you can feel very backed up when you don't have regular bowel habits. And I think I've mentioned everything else. I think Barb kind of alluded to the fact that it also, when you eat breakfast and when you try intermittent fasting, it also clears your mind. And a lot of people complain about brain fog, and also it keeps your mood more even. So these are all things that sometimes people are having trouble with, and they don't realize that it's something as simple as when and what they're eating that is contributing to these different factors. So I just wanted to kind of lay the groundwork for us talking about breakfast and healthy breakfast this afternoon, and we're delighted that you're with us. And I think you'll enjoy our breakfast down on the farm. So thank you very much, and I hope the mic works for those who need to use it following me. It might just be me. I want to say one more thing before I give up the mic. We're going to have a very good presentation next month. Alicia does beautiful cooking demonstrations, and so this is just a pleasure to participate. Next month, in November, we're going to have a gentleman who is coming from the Midwest, and he has expertise in a number of different natural remedies. And so our Sunday session is going to be longer. It's going to start at 1:30 and it's going to go to 4:30. He's going to demonstrate charcoal and charcoal poultices. He's going to do different kinds of kitchen poultices. I believe his wife is going to do hydrotherapy, and he's going to do a lot of herbal techniques. So if you have an interest in kind of those natural healing techniques, you'll want to come next month. We did this about a year ago. We did something with hydrotherapy and some of that. And if you missed that, or if you're like me, you need to see it more than one time. And so if you missed it or you'd like to see it again, plan to come next month, second Sunday. I think that's the weekend of November 11th. So mark it on your calendars and plan to come. You'll find it to be very interesting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna have a giveaway right now. We're already gonna start with it, okay? So let's go ahead and have a drawing. We have somebody drawing it?
The name is Esther Thompson.
All right, Esther. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a choice. You can use a $30 gift certificate from IGA or an Easy Vegan Breakfast Lunch Cookbook. Which would it be, Esther? I'm probably just gonna have to talk really loud
Yeah, I think that's better.
Should I just turn it off?
Yeah, because it's got this.
Okay, I could talk loud. Okay. I want to make sure everybody can hear me. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
I'll try to keep it at this tone. So first things first, we're gonna start with some tofu scramble. But what you get to eat today is a burrito, because I added a few more things to it, and we talk about that in a minute. So some of you might not be too familiar with tofu. There is some controversy about tofu. You know, you hear some people say it's not good. But I happen to listen, I like listening to a guy named Walter White, who's a scientist, well-known scientist. And he's got a YouTube channel called Amazing Discoveries. And so he says it's very healthy for you, but we want to make sure that when we're gonna have tofu, this is a brick of tofu, that we always get organic and one that's non-GMO, not genetically modified. So if you get anything that is from China, it will be, you should stay away from anything from China, okay? So what I have to do, you've got to get it out of the package, and sometimes I'll sandwich it between this to get the water out, between some paper towels, or I'll just use a couple plates and pull it over the sink, and then just squeeze it out that way, and then let the water just drain into the sink until it's pretty dry. Okay, so this one I've already worked with, so it's pretty dry. And we're going to go ahead and let me turn this down a little bit. It looks like it's a little bit warm already. And
Is that firm?
this is firm. Okay, so there are different types of I probably got that a little too hot. There are different types. Now this oil right here is too hot. It's carcinogenic, okay? So you can, let me just talk to you a little bit about oil. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
You can make this recipe with just a couple tablespoons of water, and that will be healthier, okay? But so some types of oils that you can use that are safer would be olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, and I can tell you why in a minute, or coconut oil. Coconut oil has a low smoke point, so it's not gonna smoke like this as much, because when it gets smoky like this, it becomes a carcinogen, okay? So it's always best to use water and cook with that, but today, for the sake of this presentation, I did this. Now, what do I wanna say more about oil? So what happens is, in oil,
Is that olive oil?
this is olive oil. I put olive oil in it, and so that's a good oil. It has a little more flavor with oil.
We're not supposed to get it too hot.
Not too hot, because it's very unstable and it oxidizes, and then it causes free radicals. And then those free radicals are what our body, when we eat vegetables, is trying to get rid of, is these free radicals, and they're very carcinogenic. So if we can eat with minimal oil and not heating it up like this to this level, then you know, we're going to have better cholesterol levels and whatnot. Yes, Ed?
Yes, I noticed when I was at Asian restaurants, there was a lot of peanut oil and they fry it.
So I don't know. I know that this oil right here is a monounsaturated oil. That's what you want to use. I'm not prepared to do a talk on oils today, but there's a lot of ones that are unstable out there. And I wouldn't say peanut oil is very good to use. Okay, so the best one to use is coconut oil. It has a low smoke point. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and break this up because we're going to have some scrambled eggs. So, and at the same time, I'm going to add some garlic. About 2 cloves, 2-3 cloves of garlic. I'm a garlic lover, so you never can't have too much garlic, as far as I'm concerned. So what we're going to do to give it that color, the egg color, we're going to go ahead and this is called Flavoco butter. It's probably it's actually popcorn butter. You could get it online, or you can get it at specialty food stores. but it has a buttery flavor. It's what they use on the movie theaters for popcorn. So it's a least favorable ingredient, but you're just using a little bit of it to get the color. Okay? It's called Flavical butter. F-L-A-V. It could be O-A, okay. I might have it spelled wrong in there. Also, we're gonna go ahead and use some turmeric. We know turmeric is good for, it's anti-cancerous, so we're just gonna put like 1/4 of a teaspoon of turmeric in. And with the saltness, we're gonna use a soy substitute called Brad's liquid amino. Couple teaspoons of that, and we're just gonna mix it all up. Of the egg, we're gonna let this cook in fry for about 10 minutes. And you don't wanna mess with it too much. Once you get it going, you just leave it there, let it sit for about 10 minutes, and it gets it nice and real crispy. Now, if you're not used to food, it by itself, it's very bland, but I mean, I love it. I can eat it bland. This doesn't matter. But for some people, it might be a little bland. So that's why we added some, this Flavical butter also has a salt to it and gives it that salty flavor on top of the Brad's. Okay, so now to have this on. So we're gonna pretend that 10 minutes has passed. And so then, so now we've kind of left it alone and we're gonna add mushrooms, which add a lot of flavor to our food. And mushrooms have good anti-inflammatory properties, lots of vitamins and minerals. And we're gonna go ahead and add some zucchini. You can add whatever vegetable you want. At this point, you could add spinach, whatever you like. I'm gonna turn this up a little bit. It's supposed to be a medium high. I think it went to off. So, okay, so we're just gonna stir that up a little bit. We're gonna let that cook for 5 minutes, okay? And then at 5 minutes, we're gonna go ahead and pretend 5 minutes has passed. We're gonna add some green onions. I love green onions. And then we're gonna let this cook for about 1 minute. So anybody knows the benefits of onions? It decreases your cancer risk, it supports bone health. They're very good for you. So now a minute has gone by. And so now we add some tomatoes. These are farm fresh. Right here from, what do we want to call our farm today? Green Acres? Okay, so now we got that done. So what you guys get to enjoy today, we know there's a lot of health benefits also from tomatoes, the lycopene, but I made some burritos. Now in these burritos, I put some of Rosa's pico de gallo in it. We've added a little bit of vegan shredded cheese. This is one of the cheeses, vegan. And then I also added some avocado. Now, some of them are gonna be whole wheat and some of them will be just regular white flour tortillas. So it's marked on there W for whole wheat and flour F for, so when we pass those out, you might wanna pick the one you want. I tried to get gluten free and anyway, I lost them. Anyway, by the time I found them, it was too late. I'd already made them all. I was out of ingredients. So anyway, I don't know if you guys can smell this, but it's really scrumptious looking and it smells good and it tastes good. So we're gonna go ahead and pass out our, are they ready? We are. Okay, very good. And while we pass that out, we're gonna do another giveaway. Okay, so let's do another drawing. Okay, who's doing the drawing? Go ahead.
The winner is Diane. Eagle.
Is that you, Diane?
Diana. B-L-O-O-L-Y.
Brooks.
Brooks, okay.
Diana Brooks. Okay, we're glad to see you today, Diana. Okay, so what we have for you is a $50 gift certificate at Safeway or the Ultimate Vegan Breakfast Cookbook. So which would you like? Which? I'll let you choose. Okay, our next thing up is going to be maple nut granola. Okay. So why do we avoid dairy, by the way? Because I just want to mention that there's lots of reasons, but let's just talk about the protein that's found in animals. It's called casein. Okay. And casein, number one, is a long chain fatty acid. It's really difficult to break down in the stomach. But, you know, let's talk about like milk, because I'm going to be pouring some nut milk and we're using instead of regular milk on this next recipe. And in cows and calves, they have something called rennet. Okay, rennet is something that's going to help break down the casein protein. But what happens is when the calf grows up, it doesn't produce that rennet anymore. And so, and what animal do you know that still is using breast milk after it's weaned? Do you know of any animal that does that? Only humans. And if we're going to be drinking milk and we want to do it for the protein, you know what milk we should be drinking? Rat's milk. Because it's really high in protein. It shouldn't be cow's milk. So I just wanted to bring that point up. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start with this recipe of oats. Now oats are, let me see if I can find any facts about oats. So they're a digestible grain. They're pretty stable. They do have some gluten in them, but I've known certain doctors that have even prescribed them to people with celiac disease because it's a pretty light gluten and if people with celiac can tolerate it. Okay, but it's high in calcium and in iron and B vitamins. So we're going to start with 13 cups of oats, okay? Now this job gets a little bit messy. So I'll try to hurry along here. I'm starting to run out of time, I should see. So we're going to go ahead and get moving. I'm going to start adding these dates. And we're going to go with a blender. It's going to be 1.5 cups of pitted dates, okay? So a lot of the granola that you get on the market is really, really sweetened with a lot of sugar. This is going to have a sweet flavor, but it's you know, it's healthy. Did you know that we're going to use a little maple syrup? And did you know maple syrup is the only alkaline syrup there is? Here's the maple syrup. We're just using a little bit. Okay, I'm going to add some honey. Okay, I'm going to add some vanilla extract. So a little bit of grandma's molasses. This is optional. And I love the sea salt. It has 84 minerals that I talk about that our body needs. We need those minerals to be able to regulate our blood sugars. Okay, and we're going to go with 3/4 cups of water. And I'm going to go with 1 cup of walnuts, or any kind of nut that you so choose. And we'll go ahead and blend it up for a second. This could be a little bit of my December. How many of you have a Vitamix out there? They've changed my whole life in my kitchen. It's very high end. They should be paying me them as much as I advertise for them. So, okay, so now I'm going to, before I do that, we've got the oats, okay, 13 cups of oats. Now I've got some chopped walnuts and I've got some chopped almonds I'm putting in here. You can put whatever you want, cashews, whatever kind of nuts you want. Pecans, a lot of antioxidants, a lot of omega-3 fatty acids, very good for you. You're gonna mix it up really good. Okay. Okay, so now I'm gonna take this out and I'm gonna pour this mixture in. Okay, this is where it gets really, really messy. But it's really good. So now I like making this recipe in the evening, and this is what I'm going to do tonight with this recipe right here. Before I go to bed, I'm going to turn on my oven to 170 degrees, and I'm going to go to sleep for about 8 hours. And in the middle of the night, you're going to start smelling the aroma of this beautiful, wonderful tasting recipe. And it's really a good thing to do, like when you're having company, and then they wake up in the morning and they smell this wonderful, fresh, on the farm granola. So, and now I'm just going to mix it with my hands, and you want to mix it to the point where you don't see the whitish or chalky looking. If it's sticking to you, sometimes I have some extra oats over here, quick oats, that I might need to add a little extra. And I'm trying to keep the integrity going of the oat, okay? Okay, so now, for the sake of time, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna come here, and I'm gonna put all this. Sometimes it takes, this will probably take 2 trays. I put one on the top, one on the bottom. I put it in my oven. Now at this point, you can add coconut shreds, and you can get them roasted too, if you like that. Or you can add them later. And I'm gonna add, when this is all done, you could just put it in the oven like this. This is, I'd probably use 2 trays for this if I was at home, okay? And I'm gonna put this in the oven. What did I say, 170, right? And for 8 hours. And when it's done and it's cooled off, I'm gonna come back and add 1 to 2 cups of raisins. Or this is, at this point, you can put dried apricots, dried pineapple, whatever you'd like. And I'll probably add my coconut shreds at this point too. And so now, this is what it looks like after it's cooked for 8 hours. You won't be able to see it too much. You're gonna be able to enjoy some. And these peaches right here, I usually put like raspberries or your favorite berry, and I'm gonna put my nut milk on it. And now hopefully we're done with this and you'll be able to have a sampling yourself. So let me let them know. We're ready for the, very good, spoons on the tables. Okay, it's time for another giveaway. So let's draw.
You guys got spoons?
Patty Conley.
By the way, I forgot about this. This is a scoop of love. And did you know that love tastes delicious? So I always try to put a scoop of love in my cooking.
Patty Conley won.
Patty, oh, okay, Patty. Very good. Patty, you have a choice between IGA $40 gift card or the Ultimate Vegan Breakfast Cookbook. Vegan breakfast? Okay, very good. Very good. Okay, so I think it's time for Susan. Okay, we'll get it.
I have the simplest recipe. I don't even have to tell you how to do it. But it is good. And you know what they recommend? Can you hear me? You cannot hear me. All right, where'd that microphone go? Is the mic in here?
We have it.
Well, I need Alicia's voice.
You're up for it.
Okay. So I am doing the chia seed pudding. Chia seed pudding. And you could use all different kinds of plant milk, whatever you might like to use. I used soy milk. The recipe here says coconut milk or plant-based milk, but I had a lot of soy milk, so that's what I used. And it was kind of interesting when I was looking to see about coconut milk. I don't know if you've seen these at the grocery outlet, this Karma flax milk. I haven't tried these. I thought I better not try it on you guys, since I haven't never had it myself. But there's this other one also. These look like they would be interesting, like they could be very useful also in this. So I used this soy that has vanilla flavor on it. And I was wondering about that because there's vanilla in this recipe. But even though I have a vanilla flavor, which I don't always have vanilla flavors, I usually just have it straight. But I don't think you'll taste the vanilla to be overpowering at all when you taste it. Now, the beautiful thing about this recipe is there's hardly anything that has more fiber than a chia seed. For 1 tablespoon of chia seed, you get 8 grams of fiber. For 1 tablespoon of flaxseed, you get 2 grams of fiber. For 1 tablespoon of wheat germ, you get 4 grams. So you can see it's far superior in fiber. Now, take a look at the fact that you've got 4 tablespoons here. That is 32 grams of fiber in 1 serving. You will have to go far and wide to top that for your fiber. And of course, it is that seed that when you let it sit overnight, it's congealing and it gives it that pudding feel. But what I will say, so of course, these are my chia seeds that I use, but you all know what they look like. Now you can make this a lot of different ways. The way you're going to see it today, I never tried before, so I apologize that it might not look beautiful because I used blueberries. And when you use blueberries, it turns things blue. And not everybody likes that look. So when you take a look at the pudding, you'll see that it's got kind of a gray blue with the seeds in it, but it's tasty. And it's exactly what they would recommend for an ideal breakfast, because it's got fiber, it's got carbohydrate, and it's got protein. And it's got omega-3s, because chias are very high in omega-3. So you're getting a good blend. And of course, it's got, you know, whatever milk products you want to use. These are all plant-based milks that we're using. But it lasts, it really keeps you going for quite a long time. Now, the first time I made it, I like raspberries. So the first time I made it, I just put raspberries in. I did not put raspberries in this one at all, but when you use raspberries, it just makes it look kind of whitish with a pink swirl going through it, which some people might think looks more appealing. This time I used blueberries and strawberries and put them together. And the way that I do it, I use this gizmo here. You could use that too, but this is much simpler and easier to clean. So this is what I use. I just pulse it and stir it up that way. And you'll see that this calls for a cup of mixed fresh berries. And so what it asks you to do is put 1/2 into your bowl. So I always have a couple bowls. And I use this bigger bowl for when I'm mixing all together. And I use this one to cut up, because it says whatever your berry you're using, to cut it up into bite-sized pieces. So first you mix everything together here, except for the chia seeds and the sliced up berries. And you mix it all up with this, then you put in the seeds, and then you put in the berries. It is so simple. And if you do it overnight, this is my kind of recipe. I'm not too good at really complicated recipes. And this one is really easy, and if you're on the go and you don't have a lot of time in the morning, it only takes about 15 minutes to do this before you go to bed at night. You wake up in the morning, it's already cooked. And the way that I like it is, if you like still cut oats, and we're going to have farro, and if you put on farro also, you could put this over a grain, like I like it with still cut oats, but you could put any kind of grain you wanted. You could put quinoa, you could put amaranth, you could put farro. Farro's not so easy to find, but it's very tasty. And so you could put it on that. And if you're not allergic to nuts, you could also put some nuts in. I usually put walnuts and almonds. I like those. If you are having nut problems, you can use seeds. You could put a combo of seeds in there. You could add pumpkin seeds and sesame seeds if you wanted to. All of that would raise the protein level up. If you put in a nut or you put in a seed like that, that would all add your protein to it if you wanted more protein. So give it a chance. When you look at it, it might not look like it's the most beautiful thing that has ever been but give it a chance. And I apologize, because like I said, if I had not put the blueberries in, well, why did I put blueberries in? Because they're healthy. And you'll see that it says that you can use maple syrup or honey. I used honey in this one. So I'm going to let them know that we can pass the samples out.
Yeah, we're ready.
Question back there.
Yes.
Just a comment. If you have a chia seed and you're making it, you might want to make sure you do this last point in the recipe where it says after 10 or 20 minutes.
Oh, yes.
Otherwise, the chia seed will come out and top. If you just let it chill a little bit, cool it, and you're going to turn it after about 10 or 20 minutes, then it'll evenly mix throughout. It's fun.
Thank you, Karen. So Karen and Doug back there are master chia seed pudding makers. And so that was a good point that she made. Make sure when you put it in the refrigerator, you let it sit there for a while, about 30 minutes, to give it another turn, so that all the seeds get blended in. And it does, you know, have a seedy feel. I like seeds. So take a taste and see if you like it. If you like it, it is simple. And it's very helpful. And you can use it as a topping of many things. Eat it plain.
Okay, it's time for another drying, Edna.
Okay.
Who? Okay, Martha.
Martha,
Okay, Martha, you have a choice between this cookbook, which is Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease, or a $40 gift certificate to IGA. Cookbook.
Okay. Very good. The same favorite one again. That's what you did.
See if this works. I'm Carol Lewis. And, oh, what happened to my I'm going to be demonstrating for you something that here is called Carol Lewis's gravy. I did get this out of another vegan cookbook, but I left the fat out of it. The original recipe called for a 1/4 cup of oil, and I don't do that. So that's why Alicia was going to say this is Carol Lewis's. So we're demoing a recipe that I'm going to be brave enough to tell you. Are any of you the only ones who are trying to eat this way in your family? Do any of you need to try and persuade friends or other family or something? Because this happens to be a good recipe to use if you're in that situation. And I'll just make another editorial comment.
What is that?
I'll show you in just a minute. This recipe doesn't call, this calls for Baked-O-Bits, but Alicia wanted me to use the Morningstar Farms. They're called Veggie Griller cookbooks. Now in our house, the reason I got going with this recipe was because my husband is from Virginia, and one of their favorite family recipes for special breakfast was potato gravy. And so when I do this at our house, I'm typically doing sauteing onions and very thinly sliced potatoes to make potato gravy with this. I've got to turn this around so I can get it. So I'm just going to put these griller bits and let them heat here for a minute. And what we're doing the recipe calls for hot water. I can tell you that if you have a Vitamix, and I'm decidedly prejudiced, you don't necessarily have to use the hot water. The reason they call for hot water is so that it will soften up your raw cashew pieces. So this is the 3 cups of water.
And in here, I have got the 1 cup of raw cashew pieces, 4 tablespoons of organic cornstarch. And then I've got 4 teaspoons of onion powder, 1 teaspoon seasoning, and 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. So this is gonna go right in here into the water. And the reason they want you to use hot water, although at home, it's because it's easier to get, and this way, there you go, can you hear me?
Yes.
It's easier to get the cashews to become smooth. Cashews are a basic raw cashew pieces. This doesn't.
It's in and out, but it's,
Okay, raw cashew pieces are basic in a vegan pantry. If you want to make cream soups, if you want to make cream sauces or anything like that. And this recipe happens to be one. I almost forgot. This is the 2 tablespoons of Bragg's liquid aminos. And you want to blend until your cashews are completely, I want this down a little bit. You want to blend until your cashews are completely smooth. And so if you ever go onto websites, if you're trying to develop a plant-based lifestyle at your house, there are a number of different places to look if you're on Facebook. Forks Over Knives has a Facebook group that's a very excellent resource. And the way you test to see how your sauce is doing is to take and rub a bit of it between your 2 fingers. And if it's smooth, then your sauce will be smooth. If it's still a little grainy, this one's a tiny bit grainy, it probably would be okay, but I'll let it run for just a little bit longer until it gets completely smooth. This particular sauce we've used as a gravy, like I mentioned, for potato gravy. We've also used it for stroganoff. If you use something like soy curls and make a stroganoff with it, it's very good that way. Or you can do the chipped beef gravy like the recipe suggests, which is what their family liked. And so once you've got that smooth, you just add it to whatever you're sauteing and let it heat until it thickens up. And I find that it often thickens more than I want it to. So a little bit of extra water is often helpful because it becomes quite thick. I will also mention, I'm sure somebody, Alicia has already mentioned this in this past classes, that these look pretty complex to clean, but they're really not. If you add a little water and some dish soap and put the lid on and run it, and it cleans it out, and you can just rinse it and cut it. And it cleans it right up. So when every now and then on the Forks Over Knives Facebook site, people will ask whether they should buy a Ninja or a Vitamix or what kind of blender is best, and each person has their own favorites. But Vitamix comes out on top, simply because, not because you can't cook with the others, you can, but because it's more powerful and it really gives you smooth sauces and makes things easier. And you can also go online and find refurbished Vitamixes for quite a bit less than what they sell for if they're brand new. So that's it. You're getting a sample of biscuits and gravy. I'm not demonstrating the biscuits. I made those this morning. They would probably be a tiny bit nicer if they were hot out of the oven. But this is one of those recipes that people like. And so if you're trying to get people to transition to a whole food plant-based diet or a vegan diet, if it tastes good, people are going to eat it. You know, so this is one of those recipes that can help you do that. You can also put this over toast. You can do breakfast beans with this. You can put beans in it, put it over toast. Doesn't always have to be over biscuits. When I make stroganoff, I use soy curls or a soy gluten product that has been diced or sliced, and I put it over pasta. That's one of my children's favorite meals. So this particular recipe was one that I happened onto early on, and I'm talking 15 years ago now. In our vegan experience at our house, it's one that my family still asks for. They love it. So, any questions?
Delicious.
For one person, we should just cut it.
The what?
One person, we should just cut it back.
Yeah. Yeah, or just not put or she's asking if you're cooking for one person, would you just cut it in half? Yes, you can do that. Or you can just not put the add-ins into it. You know, just put add-ins into a little bit of it and save the rest of it, like eat biscuits and gravy for breakfast one day, and later in the week, maybe have stroganoff. You know, something like that. Yeah, it does. So, yes, I'm sorry. Yeah. So I think my time is up.
Okay, thank you, Carol. That was really scrumptious.
Delicious.
Okay, time for another drawing, Edna.
Yes.
We just
Yes.
didn't demonstrate them. It's just, we're trying to be timely.
Yeah, and I was kind of on a time crunch, so I apologize. They're probably a little bit moist, but.
They're very good. The one I just had. Mamie. So you get a choice, Mamie, between a $40 gift certificate at IGA or a children's my first vegan cookbook, if you have a grandchild, or you can have a paddle ball. What will it be? All right, very good. So inside of there's a $40 gift card at for foods. IGA is foods, etc. Oh, okay.
Nice.
Maybe I should have said that. Okay, very good. We're ready for our next person. That'll be Rosa. Okay. Here, Rosa. Everybody has to be quiet. Rosa doesn't speak real loud.
Everybody hear me? Yes, good.
It's really not coming through too good.
Good afternoon, everybody. Yes, everybody hear me? Okay, I'm fine.
Thank you for coming. Welcome. I give you very good recipe and simple recipe. So the name is coconut farro. Really simple and easy. So I have 4 cups of water already in the stove. So I have 2 cups the fair wheat soaked overnight. Overnight. Okay. I have sea salt in here. Cover and wait, cook for 30 minutes. When past the 30 minutes, already is done, 30 minutes. I'm gonna make the full recipe because it's long time. 30 minutes already passed. So I have 1 cup the coconut milk. I have honey or agave nectar for sweetness. I have coconut, dry coconut, put together, wait for boil for a little bit. When it's already done, boil it. You wait for 10 minutes, cool it, and 10 minutes for cool down for more cream. When you serve it, put fruits, nuts, berries, peaches, any kind of fruit you like. So this farro has a lot of nutrients. It's the favorite brand in America. It's high in fiber and protein. Very good breakfast. So my ladies, thank you so much for coming and enjoy the recipe. Hope you like it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, time for another giveaway.
Wow.
Okay. I like this cookbook. Okay, who's gonna draw it? This next cookbook is it's an African for the mission field in Africa. So I love it. They have a bruschetta one in here. I liked it. Okay.
Does anyone have a ticket that kept the road side that has the last number of 993? 993?
993.
They gave me the wrong key. 993. 176 993. Okay, well,
Okay.
yeah, come on, let's try another one. Okay, put in this right here. There's what is 176996.
Okay, let's try again.
Okay, here's one. Martha. Thank you.
Martha. All right. Okay, Martha. What's it gonna be, Martha? You got 2 choices. You got my first vegan cookbook or Tony Eats Again. Okay, or you can have this paddle. We're expecting Blue Zone swag today. I don't know what happened to our Blue Zone team. Okay, thank you. Okay, it should be, oh, it's coming out, good. Yes, Diane.
What did you say it was from Africa or it's
Oh, that book is the African mission field, from the African mission field. if you'd like one, I'll give you another, I'll give you one. If you want one. Right here. You're welcome. Is everybody enjoying the coconut farro?
It's wonderful.
It's the nutty flavor.
It hasn't come out yet.
You haven't got it yet? It's coming right behind you. There you go.
You used them about yourself. What's that?
Okay, this is last but not least. It hasn't been working, so top them out.
Okay. Well, last, dessert. How many of you like French toast? This is not your regular French toast. My wife has been making this a long time. She put Gabby's French toast on there. But my wife is very busy today, so I made the French toast. So if it doesn't taste like my wife's, I'm sorry. But I thought, I tried the piece and I thought it was pretty good. It worked, so I was the guinea pig. So anyway, very simple. We have oats. You know, somebody calling me, hold on. Got my phone. That's what it's supposed to. Okay, hopefully that doesn't happen again. We got a whole bunch of these. These are really good. And you know, oats are one of the best grains you could get. I mean, they are good for almost everything in your body. And they're gluten free. And so we're gonna have oats. And I don't have the package for the sesame seeds, but these are organic sesame seeds. I suggest you buy them somewhere where they're less money than Safeway, where you get like a little 2-ounce thing for about $6 to $9 organic. They were 5 something on sale. Then we're going to have some Madagascar what? What comes from Madagascar? Vanilla. This is the secret to the whole thing. Another expensive item, but it's not bad if you could buy the organic brand at Safeway. And we're going to sweeten it with, we're going to put a little maple syrup on there. You're going to get a little dab of plant-based butter on the side, or mark spread, or whatever you want. Butter. You can use it if you want. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to. So, what did we learn earlier about maple syrup? One of the only sweeteners that starts with A, alkaline. Good, sweet. Okay. So what we do is I should have this over together. Put this there. We're gonna pour in. What's the recipe say? 1 cup, right? 1 cup. And when I made this, you know, I did double recipes. Worked out okay. So a cup of that. And the sesame seeds. And I suggest all of you should get online and look at the benefits of all of these ingredients. Sesame seeds are amazing food. And they're low fat. Good for weight control too. What's that? raw sesame seeds. Now you can get roasted ones. You could probably use black sesame seeds too. Black sesame seeds are really good for you. Good for your skin, good for your digestive tract. Really good sesame seeds just make you real happy. Okay, and then we're gonna, I think your recipe says what does it say on that? Because I have a different recipe in front of me. What is this? We got faro. Well, anyway, I think it says a tablespoon, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's too much. I mean, you can, if you like, anywhere between a half tablespoon and a tablespoon. I made all those ones when you taste them with a tablespoon for a double recipe. So we're just gonna put that in there. Pretty simple, 3 ingredients, right? Oh, not right. We gotta have one more thing. What do we gotta have next? Water. Okay. I guess I'm gonna use the sink up here. The water's a little cold. How much water? Cup and a half, right?
Yeah.
It's nice when you have these low ingredients, small, short ingredients. Okay. We're gonna go for another cup, which is 4 ounces. Always use good water. You don't want to use that. It's amazing what they do to that water out of the tap floor. You know that comes out of. Okay. Now I did notice something in my learning experience. If you turn this thing on maximum, it's just gonna get all over the inside of it. So you want to start slow and then build up. All right. Almost like making a little chair. Now, the important thing about this is do not do this too long. You know why? Because it'll get thicker. I did it way too long this morning and it just turned into a paste. So more water. Reblend it. You want it. I think if you ever made too much soap, you want to kind of like nice, I explain that. It's kind of a sticky drip. You want a nice pan, and put this in the pan, you get your ready. And I don't know how to start this. You might have any ideas on how to do it. Now you want to cook in something nice. This is extra virgin or virgin coconut oil, organic. It's got a really good deal on this. So we buy a bunch of them. I used this morning. There's also this. This is the Nutiva shortening. It's also coconut oil, but it's got some palm and some something else in there. All organic palm and and red palm.
It's not good, it destroys rainforests.
Okay, is that right?
Don't.
I guess that's why we're using and red palm, even organic. Okay, we'll throw that away. Okay, but this is what I used on all yours this morning. Okay, So then, you don't need to use much. This nice little spoon. It's already, one thing about coconut oil, if you leave it out, it's just gonna get warm and melt. And so. Take your bread. So I gotta want to start warming this up. Spread out your oil on there. And then we're gonna, for this little pan, see how that is? Nice. It's looking about good. Boy, we could just stay here all day and eat all these up. Okay, now I did buy one bread that, and you're gonna get some of it, but it's an organic bread with seeds. And it was just falling apart on me. So buy a nice hearty bread that's pretty tough. Because I was using this with bread like this, and it was great. The other bread, it was just like, and at home, you can just do this with your fingers if you want. Just put it in there. And we let it drip off a little bit. And do that. Just like French bread. You just want to cook it. It takes a little bit of time to cook. Now, here's a couple secrets. Cast iron pot pans work really good. I cooked a lot of bread in this one this morning. And I just wiped it out. I didn't even wash it. I just wiped it out. And we're all ready to go here. These pans, I like too. This, no coating, stainless steel. They do, if you leave it on there too long, and the oil will sort of start sticking into the pan. So, nice thing is with these type of pans, you can use your metal spatulas. You have to put the plastic. And this is going to take a little while to cook, so I think we'll probably say that's it. Is anybody bringing that? Are we ready to bring it? Okay. I think there's enough. If you want more, ask and there'll be more.
It smells good.
Well, it smells
Sounds
good. Tastes
really
good.
good.
Yeah, put that. Put that.
Is everybody getting enough to eat? Are they full?
Yes. A lot of food.
I wanted to say something about. I just wanted to read about oats. Oats are among the healthiest grains on earth. They're gluten-free, whole grain, and a great source of important vitamins, minerals, fiber, and antioxidants. Studies show that oats and oatmeal have many health benefits. These include weight loss, blood sugar control, and reduced risk of heart disease. And all the ingredients, you can't use with this, all the ingredients are really top notch. So that's a yeehaw for Debbie Stokes. Oh, look at that. Ooh, I think I'm gonna eat this one.
It's really good.
Now, at home, I just cook these about 4, just down about 4. I don't know how this one even brings up that 30. It's cooking too fast. You don't want the stove cooking too fast. Yeah, how are we doing? You ready?
we're already eating it.
Mhm.
Yeah, so,
We're ready to go.
okay, so let me, I'll be right there.
If anybody, I think is there more back there? We have more back? Oh,
Yeah,
there's
there's
more.
still more, everybody got one?
If anybody wants more, there's more.
Okay, are there any questions? Okay, I'll just put some of my closing thoughts in. You know, scientific evidence has showed that longevity of life is improved when we change to a whole food, plant-based diet. And think about it, in nuts, grains, fruits, and vegetables are to be found the things that we need for life, the elements we need for life. Did you know that the 28 elements that are found in our body system are the same 28 elements that are found in the dust of the earth? So we need to eat those foods closest to the root. And by eating this way, we can actually free ourselves from type 2 diabetes, hypertension, obesity, high cholesterol, arthritis, GERD, and prevent certain cancers, just to mention a few lifestyle diseases. So, and when you eat this way, you have clearer thoughts. So our team here is just propelled to educate. And we've done the best that we could to give you nutritional knowledge. And so now the choice is yours. And thank you for this time that we've had together today.
Alicia.
Okay, Robert forgot one
I just
thing.
forgot something I thought was really important. That vanilla, it says it's a brain food. So if you need a little more power in your brain, vanilla's good for your brain.
Any questions? That concludes our class for today.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Thank you. We actually, we got out of here on time. We have a timekeeper back there, you know. She's been letting us know how many minutes we have left, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, well, thank you all for coming. Thank you so much.
No, I suppose we want to see what's